functions today. Let me just share the screen with you. All right. So do you know what a modulus is? A modulus is basically this sign across any function. So whenever there is this sign, these two bars beside any function, that means that that function will turn into a positive one. So for example, -2 has a modulus. It would be equals to 2. -2 minus 3 has a modulus. This would be -5 modulus, which is, if we take it out of the modulus, it would be 5. Make sense till here?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is basically how we will be writing the modulus functions. So it will be a x minus b plus c. So if you want to find the vertex, which is the turning point, you will do x minus b is equals to 0. All right. So x will be is equal to b. This is what we usually do also.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the y would be equals to c. So this is basically in the form of completing square. Have you heard about completing square?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically the same form. However, instead of the bracket square, there is a modulus sign. So x is equal to b and y is equal to c. Is it clear till here?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's look at the shape of the curve. So it's not a curve now. It's like a V shaped now. All right. Basically, the modulus means for all positive, right? So that means whatever is negative will become positive. So for example, if this was my line, this part is negative. So the vertex is basically the turning point. So this would be the turning point. And this line comes here. It reflects on the positive axis. Make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah.
All right. So it's basically a V shape. So if A is positive, then it would be this shape upwards. And if A is negative, A basically this A, that means it would be downwards V shape. Make sense till here?
Yeah.
It was the same over here when we were doing completing square. Then a positive A was a smiley face, a negative A was a sad face, right? So it's the
Yes.
same thing, however, it's a V shape now. So now we require three things to sketch a curve. Firstly, the vertex, which is the x and y values, the turning point values. Vertex is basically the turning point, all right?
Okay.
So whenever we talk about the vertex, we are basically talking about the turning point. The shape, how do we know the shape of the curve? Through the A value, if A is positive or A is negative, all right? That shows us the shape. And the y-intercept, which is basically what is the value of y when x is equal to 0. All right. So let's take an example over here. So over here, what is the vertex? Vertex is basically x minus 1 is equals to 0, where x is 1 and y is 3. The shape A is 2, so it's a positive shape. And the y-intercept is basically when the value of y when x is 0. So you basically just plug in x as 0. So 0 minus 1 is -1. However, there's a modulus sign. So that would convert 1 minus 1 into a 1. So 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. So this is my y-intercept value. Make sense till here?
Yeah.
Then you just plot it on the graph. Clear?
Yeah.
All right. Let's take another example. I want you to try and sketch this curve on your own.
So will this graph be in the negative quadrant?
So there's a negative, that means it would be a downward facing V curve.
Okay, alright.
So first of all, we have to look at the vertex, which is x minus 2 is equals to 0, x is 2, and y is 1, right?
Yeah,
A is negative, so this would be the shape of the curve. Y-intercept, which is when x is 0, so you take out the value of y, and then you plot it. Yeah, you plot the vertex over here.
okay.
This is the turning point. This is the y-intercept, and this is my value. This is the point that you have to plot. X is equal to 1, y is equal to 1, which is my vertex, and the y-intercept value. Make sense?
Yeah, okay.
All right. Can you plot this one?
Okay, I'm done.
All right. Is this what you got?
Yeah,
Perfect. Try to do this one.
okay, done.
Done?
Yeah.
All right. Is this what you did?
That's for the previous question, right?
No, this is example 4.
Or what? Oh.
Yes, it would be a negative shape,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
over here, it would be a negative shape, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So let's look at equations now, which is the main part of modulus. So there will be 3 types of equations that you will encounter. Let's look at type 1. So this is where you have modulus on both sides. So whenever there is a modulus on both sides, the equation is very straightforward. You simply have to square both sides. All right.
Okay.
So for example, this is my question. I will simply put a whole square on both sides. So there's a whole square over here and a whole square over here. You open it with, you know the formula, right?
Yeah.
A plus b whole square is a square plus 2ab plus b square, right?
Yeah.
You know that?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember.
Yeah. You did that in O levels, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So you simply just open it with that formula, with that quadratic formula, a square plus 2ab plus b square, or a square minus 2ab plus b square, and you simply solve for 2 values of x. All right.
Okay.
So this is relevant when you have modulus on both sides. Okay, on the left hand side and the right hand side both. Type 2 is where you have a modulus on one side. It can be the left hand side or the right hand side. So over here, what you do is, firstly, you solve with a, a positive on the right hand side and then a negative on the right hand side. So x plus 3 is equal to 5 and x plus 3 is equal to minus 5, and then you find out the 2 values. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So for example, over here also I'll do x plus 2 is equals to 5, x plus 2 is equal to minus 5. Here I'll do x minus 1 is equal to 7, x minus 1 is equals to minus 7. Make sense? And you find 2 values of x.
Okay.
Type 3 is when you have inequality with modulus on both sides. Now you don't have an equals to sign, you have an inequality. So over here, you follow the same way. If you have modulus on both sides, you put a square on both sides. All right. That is how you solve. When you reach the end, then you have to use your sketch to determine the values of the modulus function. All right. So first of all, you factorize. Once you have factorized it, you sketch the function. How do you sketch the function? From this, I know that 5x, if I do 5x plus 3 is equals to 0, x is minus 3 upon 5, right? So I
Yeah.
have minus 3 upon 5 over here, minus 3 upon 5 and 0. This is one value, one factor. And the second factor is x is equal to minus 1. So minus 1 and 0. Once you have plotted that, you just make your diagram. And then you have to color. Now, how do you color? Color basically means if you have a greater than sign, that means all of the positive values, all right? All of the values of above the axis. So you just color the part of the curve which is above the axis. So once you've done that, now you can simply find out the inequality. How? This is the inequality. X is less than minus 1 and x is greater than minus 3 upon 5. Make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
So always follow all of these steps. So you factorize, sketch, color, and then you find the inequality. Clear?
Yeah.
Let's do another question. So for example, I have this. First of all, you factorize, you find out the 2 factors. These are my 2 factors. All right. It's minus 1 and 3. I plot them. Now they are saying less than. Less than means the part under the axis. So you just color that. Once you've colored that, can you see it's the region between minus 1 and 3? Yeah?
Yeah.
So that is my answer. Make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So this is how you will be doing it. Let's look at another type of inequality which has a modulus on one side. Now there's an inequality where the modulus is only on one side. So over here, what you'll be doing is you sketch 2 different graphs first and then use the graph to identify the correct region and point of intersection. So what does that mean? Let's look over here. So I have x minus 2 is greater than 2x minus 3. So there is an inequality. However, the modulus is only on one side of the inequality, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you will be sketching two different graphs. Which graphs will you be sketching? Let's look over here. I have y is equal to x minus 2, the left-hand side graph. You sketch that graph of the modulus. So you know how to sketch the graph of x minus 2 modulus, right?
Yeah.
With the vertex and the point of the y-intercept and everything, the value of a, you sketch that. So this blue graph is the modulus graph, and then you sketch the graph of the right-hand side, which is 2x minus 3, which is a straight line. Yeah?
Yeah.
You know how to sketch the graph of 2x minus 3, right? It's a linear equation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have to determine the point of intersection. All right? So once you do that, you find the sketch two different graphs and then use the graph to identify the correct region and the point of intersection. So basically what you have to do over here is, see, you have to find out the region where x minus 2 is greater than 2x minus 3. So x minus 2 is basically the modulus, right? The modulus graph needs to be above 2x minus 3. Over here, can you see? This is my 2x minus 3. It is above the modulus graph, right?
Yeah.
So you need to figure out the region where the modulus is above the 2x minus 3, which is this region, the yellow region, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this would be your answer. Wait, let me look over here. You do all of this. Then you find out the point of intersection. So this point of intersection will basically be your answer. You will be doing, once you find the point of intersection, you will be telling them that it's lesser than this region. So how do you find the point of intersection? These are my two graphs. You just have to equate them, all right? So x minus 2 is equal to 2x minus 3. Okay?
Okay. Alright.
You find out the point of intersection, and then once you've done that, basically it's less than that point. Why? Because we just figured out that the modulus function is greater on that region. Is that clear?
Yeah. Okay.
Let's do another question on this. First of all, this is my equation. It only has modulus on one side. So that gives me the hint that I have to, it is a linear equation and a modulus equation, all right? And it has an inequality as well. Yeah? So you have to
Yeah.
make two different equations. Once you've made two different equations, you make the graph. So you have to sketch this graph also and you have to sketch this graph also. Okay? So you'll sketch both of the graphs. Now we have already spoken about how to sketch this graph, yeah?
Yeah.
With the vertex, the point intercept, and the shape of the curve. Okay? So once you sketch both graphs, you will find a point of intersection. So let's look over here. I've sketched both graphs. All right. You did all this working, you sketched all the graphs. Now you have to mark the correct region. What is the correct region over here? It is saying that the modulus needs to be lesser than 3x minus 4, which means what needs to be higher? The linear equation, right?
Yeah.
So in this region, you can see that the modulus is greater than the linear equation, right?
Yeah.
This region, x minus 3 and 3x minus 4. So x minus 3, in this region, x minus 3 is greater than 3x minus 4, right? And in this region, you can clearly see that this is my linear equation and this is my modulus. So the linear equation, which is 3x minus 4, is greater than x minus 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah? So this is what you need to figure out. And they need the region, they need this region, right? Yeah? They need the 3x minus 4 to be greater. So that
Yeah.
means the answer would be on this side of the point of intersection, greater than the point of intersection. So now you have to find the point of intersection. How do you do that? Look at which line of the modulus graph is this crossing. Okay. So if it is crossing, then now one another thing you need to make sure whenever finding out the point of intersection, you have to look at whether if it is crossing the negative part of the line or the positive part. So this is the negative slope, right, of the modulus, and this is
Yeah.
the positive slope. So my linear equation is crossing the negative slope, right? That means when finding the point of intersection, you will put a negative sign out of the modulus. All right. So it will be
Okay.
minus x minus 3 and 3x minus 4. You find out your point of intersection, and this is your answer. Make sense?
Can you explain the finding out the higher and lesser points on the
Yes,
graph again?
yes, of course. So higher and lesser basically means when I look over here, wait, let's go step by step again, all right, on this question.
Okay.
So I have the equation x minus 3 is less than 3x minus 4, all right? So you are clear till here, right? How to make the graph.
Yeah.
So you make two equations, you make the graph. Once you have made the graph, how do you make the linear graph? How do you make this?
I just plug in values.
Yes, you just plug in values, correct. Okay. So you find out your, um, once you've made the graphs, then you simply have to make the correct region, mark the correct region. How do you mark the correct region now? So this is my modulus. Let's say the modulus is A, okay? And my
Okay.
linear equation is B. I need the region where A is less than B or B is greater than A, right?
Yeah.
So this is the, wait, let me just erase this part. Okay. So this red line that I have, the red graph is A, right?
Yeah.
This is A and this is A. And the blue line is B, right? Now, can you
Yeah.
see over here? This is A and this is B. Can you see that B is lower than A?
Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
that means in this region, A is greater than B. In this region, however, can you see B is higher and A is lower?
yeah.
So B is greater than A. So which region do we want? We want the region B is greater than A, right? So it's this region. So whatever point of intersection you find, it would be the region on the right. All right. So whatever is the point of intersection, it would be greater than that.
So
It would be greater than that.
the
All
positive side
right.
of the modulus doesn't count?
What?
The positive side of the modulus? That slope.
No, it is
Okay.
this region, not the positive side of the modulus. It's the region,
Alright.
not the graph. Okay. One more thing, whenever finding the point of intersection, what did I ask you to keep in mind?
Whether it's on the negative slope or the positive slope.
Yes, if it's on the negative slope, you'll simply put a negative sign outside the bracket. If it's
Yeah.
on the positive slope, then you don't need to do that. Clear till here?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to do some questions now. Let me just send you some questions. So the question will never ask you to make the graph. However, I expect you to make the graph because it's very important in these questions. If you don't, if you try your guessing games, you will definitely, I'm not even doubting it, you will definitely end up with the wrong answer. All right.
Alright. Yeah.
So please make the graph. Even if it's a long question, make the graph.
Okay.
Okay. I've sent you some questions. So first you have to do the equation part. and then the inequalities. All right,
All right. Yeah.
please start. Alright, Ahad, we're going to stop here and we're going to continue in the next class, alright? Hello, Ahad, you there?